My name is Lauretta Compton and I'm 11 years old. I'm with the 4-H Marine Science Club. My topic today is Majestic Manatees Need Help. So let's get started with Majestic Manatees Need Help. Problem: manatees are dying in record numbers. This map demonstrates a relative density of manatee carcass recovery locations. Blue color indicates sparse density, yellow color means the most manatee carcasses were found, and red color means in between. Altogether, the total number of manatee carcasses recovered by November 19, 2021 was 1,017 carcasses. Why are manatees dying? Manatees are dying due to lack of food and exposure to toxins. Manatees are herbivores. They eat kelp or seagrass. Manatees cannot tolerate temperatures below 68 Fahrenheit for long periods of time. In winter, they aggregate in warm waters and there is not enough grass to feed them. Therefore, manatees have two choices. Either they stay in warmer waters and starve to death, or they look for food in colder waters and die from hypothermia. This is an example of a manatee's exposure to toxins. In this photo, there is a manatee calf suffering from red tide exposure. Why is there lack of seagrass? One of the main reasons is due to an overgrowth of algae. In this photo is an example of a blue-green algal bloom. In this photo is an example of a red tide algal bloom. Why is there an overgrowth of algae? The overgrowth of algae is known as eutrophication. Algae are microscopic organisms similar to plants. Algae growth is influenced by one or more growth factors for photosynthesis: sunlight, which is naturally abundant; carbon dioxide, which is a man-made excess; nutrients, nitrogen, and phosphorus is also in man-made excess. The big question is, what causes the excess of nutrients and carbon dioxide? Excess of nitrogen and phosphorus come from farm animals, fertilizing farm fields, from housing developments, people using detergents and other chemicals that are used for people's needs, from sewage and sewage waste processing plants. Excess of carbon dioxide comes from atmospheric emissions from factories and vehicles. Carbon dioxide precipitates with rain. Rain also washes down the nutrients. All nutrients and carbon dioxide end up in the oceans, carried down by runoff waters and rivers. When algae start to grow in an uncontrolled manner, they block the sun and oxygen for deep water plants. Older algae dies and precipitates to the bottom as an organic precipitation. In deep water, a large amount of biomass or dead algae accumulates. There's not enough oxygen to destroy it by aerobic microorganisms. Therefore, the bacteria capable living in absence of oxygen or anaerobic degrade the biomass. Anaerobic bacteria degrade the biomass and release toxic chemicals such as ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and methane. The absence of oxygen and sunlight causes the death of animals and plant species, including the grass that manatees eat. Now I'm going to talk about possible solutions to the problem. There are two ways to focus on algae prevention techniques. This is the first way: reduction of the nutrients and pollutants introduction into water bodies. Reduce amounts of phosphorus in detergents. Improve agriculture techniques through the use of slow-release fertilizers. Instead of use regular fertilizers that whenever it rains, all the nutrients in the fertilizer run down. Use slow release. Use of alternative practices in animal husbandry to limit production of wastewater. Alternative practices in animal husbandry mean instead of raising farm animals all cooped up in a barn, raise them free range. This way, not only the animals will be happier and healthier, but their droppings will be spread evenly through the fields and will be less nutrients removed with runoff waters into the oceans. Reduce emissions of carbon dioxide and other pollutants. Stop littering at our beaches and parks. Pick up litter at the beaches, coasts, and parks to prevent harmful chemicals from polluting the surface and groundwater. This is the second way on algae prevention techniques. Removal of the nutrients that are introduced into water bodies. Improvement of the purifying performance of wastewater treatment plants to reduce nutrient concentrations. In other words, improve the filters on the sewage treatment plants. Implementation of effective filter ecosystems to remove nitrogen and phosphorus present in the runoff water, such as phytopurification plants. I'll explain that on the next slide. This is an example of phytopurification systems. The basis of these systems' performance is removal of nitrogen from water and releasing it into the atmosphere. Phyto in Greek means plants. In phytofilters, plants and naturally occurring bacteria are used for nutrient removal. The plants will take nitrogen from the water and convert it into free nitrogen gas and release it in the air. These are my references. Thank you for your time.